So we were back at it. Everything's dry, ready to go in. My new brake lines have come in. Might get a little dark. But brake lines are here. Measure out about 4 inches longer than the factory ones. Got them off of eBay. Packaging says they were made in China, so that's awesome. Definitely quality. So with that being said, all the parts used in this swap or the suspension lift install are going to be linked in the bottom. They are affiliate links, so keep that in mind. They don't cost you anything, but they do help me out a little bit. I think I've made a whopping $2 off of affiliate links since I started putting them in there. So gonna move back up front and get this party started. Got my front axle out here. I'm going to use my little Harbor Freight sandblaster attachment for my pressure washer. And I'm not gonna pressure wash this area. I mean, I don't see any point in it, to be honest. But I'm gonna get the axle itself. If I ever actually take the hubs and everything back off, I'll kind of sandblast the parts and paint them up then, but I'm just not too worried about it right now. So I'm just gonna clean up these areas that kind of have that scale on them. There we go, it's all cleaned up. That is about as good as I'm worried about getting it. I mean, that'll do the job. The biggest thing is I just want one uniform color on it. I mean, I'm not gonna worry too much about like the surface of it. It's mostly getting it clean, getting most of the scum off of it. Now I'm gonna primer it and paint it. So there it is. It is all painted. That is good enough for me. It actually came out pretty good. And I think it'll be nice sitting up under there. Now I went with this Rust-Oleum engine enamel. The reason being, it finishes out to a pretty decent gloss, so it looks good. On top of, if I get the truck dirty, I can just go with the pressure washer and spray the mud and the grease off. So, I mean, it holds up pretty good. It dries to a pretty hard paint. I mean, and if you do scratch it, you can always just scuff it up, spray some more over it. It's easy to patch up and keep looking nice. So, there you have it. That was really convenient. So our new parts area is getting a little thin, so that's always a good sign. Now I went ahead and cut the straps off these shocks. These shocks do not come with dust covers, however mine had some on it, and I figured why not, they fit. So, I mean, won't hurt to run it. So, it does come with new hardware, however, that top, what would you call that, a bushing? This is the factory one, here's the new one. There's not one that lines up with it. So we're just gonna run the factory ones. They're not in bad shape. I mean, the clearance on that bolt, really no rattle in it. So I think we'll be all right there. So we'll get those pressed in. Comes with new ones for the bottom. Now these do fit without any trimming. Just, I mean, you can use that one. You're just gonna have to trim it off, but I see no point in doing that. I haven't been filming much, so I'm kind of short on time on completing this, but I've got my brake lines installed. Shocks are in, just finished the drive shaft. I still have not connected the sway bar because I need to get it down on the wheels and tires. Now I do have some non-hub centric spacers for the front that I'm going to put on. So I mean, not ideal, but I mean, I really don't know if hub centric is essential. So I mean, if I put it on and it wobbles, then we'll address that later on. But for now, I'm going to put them on just to save that drag link, which it is installed. I mean, everything's good to go, so I'm going to get those wheel spacers put on, then tires, and then we can sit it down. Clean the threads up with some brake clean, about as good as they're going to get. These are 2-inch spacers, lug nuts, and be well hidden under there. So it's looking like goes from the factory 7/16 by 20 to a 14 by 1.5. So I've got a lot of these lug nuts just laying around from various trucks and projects. So it's unfortunate that I won't have the cap over it, but I do have some covers that I can use. Now I'm going to use some blue Loctite. I'm going to serve a generous helping to all of these. I like using the gel kind that doesn't run off my bolt. You know, sometimes I get distracted. Might go play with something else for a second. Just impact these on. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned about putting these up front. Yeah, we are all back together. Everything is tightened down. So now we're gonna give it a test drive. Bled the brakes, all that stuff. Everything came out good. Driver's side is really dark, but I mean, I've bled them before. There's no telling how much of that residual stuff was left in there. So yeah, I'm gonna put you up on the passenger side window and we're gonna go for a test drive. I should probably. So yeah, there we go. Man. Itchy. That rod quality is so much better than what it was. The stock seats have quite a bit of springs in them, the stock seats have springs in them, which definitely cushion a lot of that blow. But even with these new bucket seats that I have going on, no spring, no suspension in those. I mean, it rides so much better than what it was. So I mean, hell yeah, I will take that. Still have to do a what would you call that? Still have to do kind of like a little miniature flex test just to see how much movement I got out of it. But I mean, just as far as rod quality, so much better. I imagine with some time, the hell was that? Anyways, I imagine with some time on the road and actually flexing and using the suspension, it's going to soften up a little bit. I did notice that it was a little bouncy in places that it wasn't before, and my steering's feeling a little loose. I'd probably say my ball joints are going to be the next thing that we do on this truck, because when I was putting it back together, I realized that there's a little bit of play in them. It's not dramatic, but you can notice it when you're outside of the truck looking at it and you're turning the wheel. You kind of see a little bit of flex before the arm actually pulls it, which there's no play in the steering, the rag joint, the box. I've already taken care of all that like in the past. And I mean, my drag link, both those ends are new. My crossbar, all that's brand new. So there's nothing else that can be giving me that kind of road walk feeling. But I did notice when I hit some bumps, I'd get a little wobble out of it. So I'm pretty sure that's the ball joints. But all in all, man, gals, whoever's watching, definitely top-notch stuff on this one. So anyways, I've got to get dressed and go to a dentist appointment, and then I'll be back out here tonight working on something.